we can find the area of composite shapes that are composed of circles or semicircles the same way we've done in the past, by either adding or subtracting different pieces together. So taking a look at this first figure, it appears to be made up of a triangle for one piece. And then in addition to that, so I'll be adding on to this a half circle, which we call a semicircle. So let's go ahead and find those two areas individually and then add them together to get the total area of this figure. So you'll recall that to find the area of a triangle, it's 1/2 times the base times the height. And the base and height have to be perpendicular, and they are this time. The sides of the triangle are the base and height. And I see the right angle symbol in there, so I'm going to do 1/2 times 7 times 7. And get an angle, or an area of the triangle of 24.5. So there's half of my answer. Let's go ahead and do the semicircle as well. Now, to find the area of a full circle, we know the formula is pi times the radius squared. Because though we only have half of a circle, what we'll do is just divide that area in half when I get my answer. So divide by 2 or multiply it by 1/2. Now be careful in this case. The radius of that circle is not 7. 7 was the diameter. So knowing that the radius is half of that, I know my radius is just 3.5. So let's go ahead and get an approximate answer as well. So I'll replace pi with 3.14 times the radius, which is 3.5. I'll square that, and then I still need to divide my answer by 2. So once I've done all that, including the divide by 2, because I'm dealing with a semicircle, I get an area of the semicircle to be 19.25. And then, as we said, this entire figure is composed of both of those shapes put together. So let's go ahead and add those two areas together to get me a total sum of 43.73 meters squared for the area of this entire figure. To find the area of this figure that has a hole in it, I'm going to end up subtracting some areas. So what I'm seeing when I look at this figure is I see the overall shape is a rectangle. And then what I'll need to do is subtract off those missing pieces, because I just want to find the area of the shaded section of this figure. So the figures that I see that I need to subtract off, the shapes I need to subtract off, are going to be a square, and I can see that it is a square because it's 16 by 16. So I'll subtract off that square, and then once again I have another semicircle I need to subtract off that top piece of the figure. Oops, so a semicircle. So that's my thinking. Let's find the area of the entire figure, subtract the area of the square, and then subtract the area of the semicircle. So the overall rectangle, the formula is base times height. I can see the base is 36, and the height of the entire rectangle is 26. Adding those two pieces together on the right hand side. That gets me a total area of 936, but there's a hole in this figure, so I need to subtract off some pieces. The square is 16 by 16, and that formula is base times height, so 16 times 16 gets me 256, so that's one of the pieces I'll need to subtract off from the total area. And then again, I have a semicircle. Now, the radius is not 16, the radius is going to be half of that, so 8's my radius. So I'll go ahead and do pi times the radius squared, and then because I have a semicircle this time, make sure you divide that by 2. So getting a calculator to do that part and using 3.14 for pi again, I get an approximate area for the semicircle of 100.48. Don't forget that includes the dividing by 2 step because I don't have a full circle. So subtracting both of those values from my total of 936 gets me an area for the shaded region of approximately 579.52 feet squared.